Kia ora, everybody. Good morning. How you doing on day 2 of the lockdown? I've been dealing with some very interesting stuff, but then, that's life here at the radio station. We've, how just when you need it most, things sort of fall over a bit? Well, our phone line, we're experiencing some difficulties. So instead of doing the first part of the program and then phoning Greg, Mayor of Carterton, I'm going to phone him right now to see if the phone line will work through to the radio desk. It's not working. If I phone him up there, I get through, but he can't hear me. So I'm just going to test that now. This is an interesting program, isn't it? I called it Isolated Blues. I should call it, I don't know, Everything's Going Wrong. So I'm going to try and phone Greg, and then we'll take it from there. Just talk quietly amongst yourselves. You'll be quite used to that by now because you've been in lockdown. Are you enjoying this? Now, I'm hoping you can hear me now, Greg. Can you? Hang on, I got to put the headphones on. Can you hear me, Greg? Greg? He can't. All right, I'm going to phone him on the cell phone, and we're going to do what we did yesterday, which is, hold the cell phone up to the microphone. Right, just a mo. Fun and games. You're just kind of sitting there in lockdown, listening and watching me bumble around. What fun. What am I doing? I'm going to try and dial out, aren't I? 372. I'm not going to give you his phone number. Oh, that's right. Put it on speaker. Oh, I know what I'll do.
Hi, Michael.
Hello, Greg. Hey, look, this has been totally weird. It's working on my cell phone, and I'm now holding my cell phone up to the microphone.
Yeah, I've been listening to you, but I can't get through. But that's all good. I'm here now.
Yeah. Well, how are you doing on day 2, Greg?
I'm going really well, actually. We've got a family all around us, and we're having a lot of fun and just getting to know one another because my daughter and partner and my granddaughter have come down from Hamilton, and we've got quite a small house, but we're having a lot of fun.
Oh, good. I was just thinking how, I'm reminded of how when Jacinda Ardern became Prime Minister, she suddenly had to deal with a bunch of crises. You've not been long in the job, and this hits. How does that feel?
I know. Yeah, and it happened straight from day one when I got elected because you remember the Carterton Clock Tower painting?
That's right, yes.
Our first council meeting, we had national media there. We had TV there. We had Radio New Zealand, News Talk ZB, and a whole raft of other media there at the same time. So, So that kicked it off. But, certainly having to deal with COVID-19 has been, it hasn't been a challenge. It's just been an experience. But the way our council has planned for pandemic planning has just been awesome, and I've really just been a passenger, and my role has just been to communicate with the community because, it's very, very, very privileged to be part of an organisation that is so well set up to cope with this.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And you are in not exactly a unique situation, but with the what do they call it? Social, community. I can't think of the word now, but where it hasn't come from a person coming from overseas. We've got a case of that in Carterton, so there's been a bit of a focus on that.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. And I'll just run you through that because we, the person who had who got infected, he rang through on the Sunday night and said, look, he's not feeling very well, so he was asked to stay at home, which he did, and he got tested on the Wednesday, and it came back positive, and the small crew, very small crew that worked with him, were asked to self-isolate and get themselves tested, and then on the Friday, I was in a meeting at lunchtime, and the message came through that this test had come back positive, so we just jumped into action. And the first thing we decided was, as an organisation, we needed to let the rest of the staff know, and we needed to let the community know. So we were working with the Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of Health said we had to wait for them to come out with the announcement at midday of the following day before we let our community know. But we let the community know on the Saturday, just after lunch, what was happening, and there were a few grumbles from the community that we hadn't let them know earlier, but we've got a lot of accolades for actually coming out with the genuine truth of what had happened and how we'd gone about it. And as it turns out, our process worked out really well, because all the tests, there were 10 tests that were done on close contacts or people that had worked with him, all came back negative.
Oh, well, so it's been a model case, and I think New Zealand is trying to be a model country in how they go about this, but it does depend on every single individual to do what you're told, really.
That's right. Yep. We're as good as the weakest link, really. So I can't emphasise more how important it is to stick to your bubble and just do what's guided by the government and the Ministry of Health, really. It's so important, and just be calm, and an opportunity to catch up on all those things that you want to catch up, and it's happening all over the Wairarapa, and I know in Carterton it is, and even in Gladstone out here it is. Everyone's ringing one another, and especially elderly people. Just checking on them and running groceries for them, and just doing what they can, within the parameters of what's allowed, really.
Yes. Well, we're constantly checking on a neighbour of ours who is not exactly profoundly deaf, but pretty deaf. So we have to sort of peer through the hedge and see if she's sitting in her chair and wave to her, But it is bringing, isn't it funny that although we're all apart, it's bringing communities together in a way, because we're having to be concerned about everybody we know and people we don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Michael. We are a resilient community at the best of times, but I think we're going to come out of this and be really, 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 really a lot stronger, a lot more communal. And globalisation, I think, will not actually play as a bigger role as it has in the past. I'm sure we're going to appreciate everything, and I'm sure it won't be like a hangover, where you wake up the next day and you say, I'm never going to drink again, and a week later you're at the pub having a drink. I'm sure it'll be a lot more sustained than that. Hey, just something I want to acknowledge, Michael, and I'm not sure it hasn't very much, but I know the role that you're playing in communicating messages, and I know through your technical problems and just the lack of depth your organisation has, that you taken a lot on your shoulders. So I think the rest of the community should acknowledge the work that you're doing, because you're such a vital tool, and you're always there backing up the community. So thank you.
Oh, that's kind. Thank you, Greg. The technical problems are in a sense, partly two things. One is, that weird thing that happens, that when you need it most, you start to have an unrelated problem. But also it's because we're trying to respond to this, and thanks to Toby Mills from Wairarapa Television, by leaping ahead with new technologies. And that's going to mean that they're going to be glitchy and fall over from time to time. But here's, with the council messages that are happening at 4:00 every weekday, those are coming remotely via a video link, and we are discovering things about that video link. And one of which is if you've got too many people trying to contribute to that from too many different places, the server is just not big enough to cope with it. So consequently, we've had a bit of people took that, which doesn't make for great radio.
Yes, and that's happening across the spectrum. We had a council meeting yesterday, a virtual one, and and we just went to audio because trying to get we were using Zoom and trying to get everyone's video there as well just wouldn't work. So I think all infrastructure is being tested in that. But here we are. You've got your cell phone next to the microphone, and it's working. So yeah.
Isn't it funny that we think of that as old tech? I'm having to hold my cell phone up. It wasn't so long ago we'd go, look at that, it's a cell phone.
I know. Yeah, but the number 8 technologies New Zealand's renowned for, and even though it's not fencing wire, it's certainly we were testing all those things.
Yeah. I was thinking, just listening to what you said before about how hopefully it won't be like a hangover where we go back to drinking. I do think there are things that are going to fundamentally change throughout the world because it's just not going to be sustainable to continue exactly as the way we were. I mean, of course, the banks and the capitalist system will do its best to rebuild itself, and it will have to be because we're kind of we're locked into that system. But there may be aspects of it that we have to scale down or look for other ways to do what we do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I think we're going to see it in the Wairarapa probably more than anywhere. I mean, look at the stuff that gets shipped out of the Wairarapa and then we buy it back. It just doesn't. Like milk's a classic example.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to be. There's got to be better ways. And I know regulation and health and safety and everything the central government throws at us certainly doesn't help. But I'm sure common sense will bear through some of that. Communal living, sharing is definitely going to be part of that, and and much more resilient. So, I mean, is there anything that you think would change?
Well, we have seen that there's less air pollution as a result of the massive scale down in transport of all sorts. Of course, we depend on that, but maybe now that we've seen that the planet can heal a bit, that we might have to modify how we go about all that and really think about climate change. We've had a little lesson in a way in how the place can heal.
That's right. Yeah, I think we need to get a message across to our neighbours over in America there, don't we? Really?
Yeah, we do.
They're on a different tangent altogether when, it'd be interesting where that tangent ends up, really. Yeah.
I was also thinking the news from America at the moment is that crime has dropped by some massive percentage. And of course, if you're stuck in your house and the cops can easily see if you're out, there's a practical reason why it's harder to commit crime. I'm wondering, especially with the kind of package that the government is put aside for people in need, poorer people. I mean, it's my view that at least a degree of crime is based on need and poverty. And if we continue to look after the poorer members of our society, we can nibble away at things like crime too, which will save society money in enforcement. I don't know.
Definitely.
Don't know if I'm being naive, but I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Oh, great! Yeah, yep. All good. A lot of good things always come out of hard times, don't they? I mean, yeah. I mean, we all still hear of the stories that come out of the depression.
Yeah.
And even yesterday, I mean, we got our granddaughter staying in. We haven't got a bath for her, so we had this big plastic. I don't know what it is, some horrible plastic thing anyway. But we filled it full of water and started leaking. Well, in the normal world that we've been accustomed to, you just get
go and buy another. So, yeah,
but we're out in the workshop there with some sandpaper, roughing it up, and
had some
iridite glue, and we put a patch on it, and hopefully the glue's dry by now, and she can have a bath in it tonight.
That's
so
great.
It's just simple things like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Are you knocking out a few more wheels at the moment?
I would like to.
Yeah.
But I haven't had the opportunity lately, just with the mayor's role. But I'm actually really looking forward to getting into the workshop, and just working with wood again. It's so therapeutic actually to have a hand tool and shave off some wood. Yeah.
I bet you it is. I want to do more writing, but I find the blank page fairly daunting.
Yes.
I'd love to have a skill where the material is in front of me and I can start dealing with it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm doing I'm really bad at DIY. I come from a family that were hopeless, that could destroy anything, but including plants and, but because we've had dogs, I've had to build boundary fences, and I've got really good at fences, really good at digging post holes and making gates and all the rest of that. And I really enjoy that, and I think I'm going to be doing a little bit of that kind of stuff during this period too.
Yeah, that's great, and I think for all that sort of work, if you just slow it down enough that you can just really take your time, you're not having to rush it. I think a lot of the mistakes come with DIY is you're going, shit, I've got to be at a barbecue at 4 o'clock, I'm going to get this done. So you rush, and the art of an artisan or a craftsman is really just taking your time, and every time you do the job, next time you try and make it better. But if you've got time on your side, and just on that, when I was learning my trade in the UK, I was very fortunate to get involved with a scheme over there that funded people in rural crafts. So while I was learning wheelwrighting, I was getting the equivalent of the unemployment benefit from the government, and the guy that I worked for topped it up by £10 a week. So he showed me how to make a spoke, and I could go in the corner of that workshop, and I've only made 2 or 3 spokes in a whole week. It didn't matter. It wasn't costing him, and that's the way to learn. You just take your time, and you get to know the grains of the timber, and so to have time is really important, and we've all got time now. So I think we need to utilise it, and just like you say, Michael, and do some stuff that we really, really want to do. Yeah.
And maybe we can share our skills. Get in touch with people on the phone, on the internet, or whatever. Because you talking about learning a craft in London reminded me when I was there, the Greater Council, London Council at the time had a scheme of all these workshops that you could go to for free. And
fantastic.
Joan and I went to a writer's workshop and just thought, this is a wonderful thing. Then Margaret Thatcher came in and closed it all down, of course.
I can imagine the Iron Lady, yes.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, someone with a skill like yours, whoever, can do little things amongst a circle of friends and say, look, careful when you're sawing on an angle, and just pass on tips. It'd be... there's a lot of people grabbing their guitars and singing songs for each other, and I think that's really great, but we can extend it out to every skill.
Yeah, I agree. And certainly, with creative writing too. Definitely. Yeah.
So, what are the kind of daily challenges, or whatever? You rejected the word challenges earlier, but the things that
you got to turn them into opportunities.
So, what are those opportunities on a routine day-to-day basis for you as mayor?
Well, the biggest challenge really, which is coming to opportunity, is actually getting through my emails, really, because I get literally hundreds of them a day, and then now having our granddaughter staying in a small space, and the Wi-Fi only works very short range. It's actually concentrating, but that's a challenge. But I mean that's fine. No, so on a daily basis, it's just making sure that we all have time together and get outside where we can, and just reflect on where we live and how great it is in the Wairarapa. And when things get back to normal, I think we're so lucky where we live, in the environment we live in, and yet we've got the capital city, which is phenomenal on our doorstep. It's always nice to come home.
Yep.
And we live in a country that we do, and dare I say it, I'm not politically inclined not one way or the other, but to have the leadership that we've got now, it's just outstanding, and we saw it before with the Moss shootings.
And White Island.
That leadership is seen all over the world as outstanding,
I'm very pleased. Sorry, Greg, I was going to say I'm very pleased too that now the opposition are saying we're behind the government, let's support what's happening. We've dropped the adversarial style, which is just what we need in this environment. And I'm thinking maybe a little bit of that when there isn't a crisis on would be useful too.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see why it needs to be like that because, you know, at our council table, we have that policy all the way around. You know, there's no party politics. We all come from different angles, and we don't agree with one another all the time. But we have a meeting, and we, you know, so some items are debated for over an hour. But at the end of the day, when we take a vote, you know, that's the decision, and we all just back it, and we support it, and we publicly back it too. You know, because that's democracy at its best. And
I agree.
I just wish central politics worked like that as well. I mean, it won't, but I mean, even if it heads that way a little bit, would be great, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? Yeah. Hey, Greg, it's been really good talking with you, and I'm getting a vision of your rural bliss out there, and you in your workshop fixing pools and baths and knocking out the odd wheel. And I know there's a fair amount of flurry of you sitting down and working through your emails and thinking of your council responsibilities. But it's from my bubble to yours. Good on you.
Oh, thank you. And a very, very, very big good on you to you too for what you're doing. Thank you so much. Yeah, and thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, I've got a few other messages, so I'll carry on with that. Thank you, Greg.
Okay. Catch you later.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye. Right. Well, really good to talk with Greg. And that worked, didn't it? Sort of. I feel a bit weird sitting there like that, but anyway, it was okay. Oh, I tell you what, you'll be craving a bit of music by now, won't you? I think you will. So I said that hang on, I just got to choose the right, there it is. What I want to do at the start or early in the program is play a song that perhaps reflects the sombre, dark or more challenging side of the isolation that we're in, and then end with something a little chirpier but still about that situation. They're not absolutely exactly about that situation. It might just be a song about being alone. And indeed...
You know what I mean?
That's, oh, look, now you've got my phone making noises. This is Gilbert O'Sullivan, Alone Again.
Oh, in a little while from now, if I'm not feeling any lesser, I promise myself to treat myself and visit a nearby tower. And climbing to the top, will throw myself off in an effort to make clear to whoever what it's like when you're shattered, left standing in the lurch at a church where people are saying, my God, that's tough, she stood him up. No point in us remaining, we may as well go home, as I did on my own, alone again. Naturally, to think that only yesterday I was cheerful, bright and gay, looking forward to what wouldn't do the role I was about. But as if to knock me down, reality came around, and without so much as a mere touch, cut me into little.
Sorry, everybody. I had a phone call and it interrupted the song. Here we go. Still going.
Pieces leaving me to doubt. Talk about God and His mercy. Oh, if He really does exist, why did He desert me in my hour of need? I truly am indeed alone again. Naturally, seems to me that there are more hearts broken in the world that can't be mended, left unattended. What do we do? What do we do? again, naturally. Now looking back over the years, and whatever else that appears, I remember I cried when my father died, never wishing to hide the tears. And at 65 years old, my mother, God rest her soul, couldn't understand why the only man she had ever loved had been taken, leaving her to start with a heart so badly broken. Despite encouragement from me, no words were ever spoken. And when she passed away, I cried and cried all day, alone again, naturally. Alone again, naturally.
When you bake at home, think about the people that you are serving food to.
Hang on, I got to stop this.
The people that you love, the people you want to please.
There you go, disappear. Hello, sorry, I'm back again. As you can tell, I'm alone again, naturally. In case you're worried about me being out and about and bursting my bubble, I'm taking my bubble with me. Well, not really. My bubble is also at home. What I mean is I'm only ever here on my own. I cycle to work and I keep well away from people. So don't worry about me. And, therefore yourselves, because worrying about each other, we're all in this. If I get infected, I'm just going to mess up the lockdown period, aren't I? So I'm doing my best not to do so. I've had a few messages. One was specifically to us as tenants of this building, but it's something that other business owners might well take on board, and which is, if you've got a shop in town and you're not there, then you might like to safeguard your stock by putting it somewhere where it's less likely to be stolen if somebody breaks in. As I was saying with Greg earlier, obviously crime has dropped because anybody out in the streets is a tad more visible, but I guess we've still got to be careful. So if you've got things like sitting in your windows that you think are too much of a temptation, whip into work and do something about them. The altruistic, the idealistic part of me says if we remove the need a bit by not having poverty in our society, then maybe crime will drop. I know there are those opportunistic, rich kind of criminals. I don't know what to do about them. But the ones that are doing so, you could almost say out of need. I'm not endorsing what they do at all. There's something we can do about that, and I'm very pleased with the government's package to support people on not just lower incomes, but no incomes at the moment. May it continue. I've had another message from a medical centre or an organisation that represents medical centres saying that they're getting... Well, the medical centres have noticed that things are quieter than expected. Frankly, I'm not surprised because people are at home. They're being advised to phone the helpline first if they think they've got COVID-19 symptoms, and if they've got something else, they're perhaps trying to deal with it on their own rather than bother medical centres. So they're just reminding you, if you're feeling unwell, the medical centres are still open, and just ring first. They do want to hear from you because they want to assess whether you need some sort of treatment. So, actually my wife was saying, there'll be a lot of DIY going on because that's one of the things that you can do during this period. Your home might need it, and you might need it because, that's what you need to do to keep yourself sane. But that does mean people might fall off ladders. People might soar into their hands. All sorts of stuff might happen. So be more careful than you would normally be. What Greg said about taking it slowly is a really good point, because taking it slowly results in a better job and it results in more safety. So take that on board. What was I going to say? Look, every time something technical happens that's I wasn't expecting, my brain empties out. So you do not want to be sitting there watching and listening to the contents of my empty brain. So I think I should just finish the program. But I did promise another song that's a positive version of a positive take on where we are, what we're up to, being at home. So I thought, well, here's a lovely song by Crosby, Stills and Nash about our house. It's probably going to start with an ad. I'll try and cut that
Oftentimes
off.
People are trying to change their world while they remain the same. That's not possible. Through mental manipulation.
Come on, Crosby, Stills and Nash.
I'll light the fire. You place the flowers in the vase that you bought today. Staring at the fire for hours and hours while I listen to you play your love songs all night long. For me, only for me. Come to me now. Rest your head for just 5 minutes. Everything is done. Such a cozy room. The windows are illuminated by the evening sunshine through them. Fiery gems for you. For you, our house is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you. Life used to be so hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you. And now I'll light the fire while you place the flowers in the vase that you bought today.
Crosby, Stills and Nash. Great, isn't it? I remember listening to that the end of my first year, last year at school. I thought, these boys will do well. They'll go far. Well, isn't it funny, you know, when we life changes, we go into lockdown or whatever it is that happens to us, maybe we revert to type even more. And the type that I seem to have reverted to is bumbling idiot who can't cope with technology and makes a mess of everything. I'm not used to sort of playing songs off my phone directly onto air because, you see, Apple has decided in their wisdom, people don't need headphone jacks anymore, so I have to do it by Bluetooth. That's fine, I know how to do that. But yeah, you get YouTube, and the song starts with some random ad. Sorry for whoever that person was that was trying to sell you something at the start of that. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I can't even give it away, I'm telling you. So it's been a pleasure being with you this morning. It's been a pleasure chatting with Greg. I'm talking with Sarah from Digital Seniors on Monday, because I'm not going to come in during the weekend. And that should be interesting. She'll have lots of tips on how our devices can help us in this time of isolation, particularly older people who might not be so savvy with all that. And yet, there they are all on their own. There we all are on our own. And we need to look at every means by which we can alleviate our situation or make it more entertaining. And that's what Sarah's going to be talking about. She'll also talk about anything else she wants to, because it's that kind of program. All right. We'll talk to you on Monday. I don't know whether I'll be holding a cell phone up to the microphone. I don't know if it'll be coming through the phone system. I don't know what'll happen, but something will. See you later.